I told him especially to throw the guns away right afterwards into the East River. I got in touch with Bender and told him to tell Vito Genovese Gene Giannini wouldn't give him any more trouble with the Narcotics Bureau. Lucky Luciano didn't have nothing to worry about.
L'ordine d'arrivo è il seguente. Primo il numero 1, Mr. Chips. Secondo il numero 2, Moliterno. Terzo il numero 4, Pigna. Quarto il numero 5, Parabola d'Oro.
Vuoto del totalizzatore della settima corsa. Primo il cavallo numero 6, Mr. Chips. Secondo il numero 2, Moliterno. Terzo il numero 5, Parabola d'Oro. Quarto il numero 4, Pigna. Vincente 22. Piazzati 12, 13, 17. Scommessa accoppiata 31. Scommessa possibile 40.
Vuole fare una giocata con me?
Grazie, preferisco di giocare da solo.
Fermi!
Mettete una parola.
I'll tell you what Lucky Luciano was doing at that racetrack in Agnano, Naples. That's his office. You understand that? He controls a dope racket from there. Lucky is the brains. Lucky is the king sitting on the throne. The big Kilo connections from New York contact him directly at the racetrack at Naples. He then introduces him to the Sicilian mafiosi, the Corsican suppliers. But he's never there when the delivery is made. He waits until later. He gets his cut from both the buyers and the suppliers. The payments are deposited to Lucky's account in a Swiss numbered bank account.
Yeah, I know, Charlie, but what was the reason for that slap at Agnano?
Doesn't mean a goddamn thing. It's got no connection with the heroin traffic. It's just a case of a Neapolitan guapo trying to act like a big shot at Lucky's expense, that's all.
We know he's got his contacts, we know there are killers, there's no question about that. What I'm saying is something else. Here we have a man who almost never goes out of Naples. Gets up early, walks his dog, and maybe later he goes down to the race course. Now, I suppose after what you told us, Charlie, we'll have to make the races off limits. He's nice to everyone. He gives money to charity, and he's managed to be friendly with the press, and sometimes with the police too. When I mention his past history, a local police commissioner had the gall to answer me, sure, we know all about it. He was sent to jail Inciting girls into prostitution. But what kind of a crime can that be? A girl goes into prostitution because she is a putana, a whore, and we can't arrest a man for crimes that were committed in another country if he commits the crime in Italy.
Naturally. He's really unbelievable, a most extraordinary person, if what you mention is true. We know that after Luciano arrived in Italy, the mafia took over all the drug traffic. A business that's worth, I would guess, over $100 million. But tell me, why can't we arrest Mr. Lucky Luciano?
The answer is very simple. He takes no unnecessary risks. He insulates himself. This makes it tough for the cops to catch him with the goods. Why, even from a mile away, he can smell a stranger. That Sicilian bastard personifies the power and the evil of the mafia. But there are hundreds and thousands of good Sicilians who have to pay for his sins. That's why I hate the mafia. That's why I won't give Lucky Luciano a moment of peace.
From the files of a special commission formed by members of the Italian Parliament to investigate the mafia phenomenon in Sicily, one finds that in October of 1957, a series of reunions took place in Palermo between Italo-American and Sicilian mafiosi. The presiding chairman was Lucky Luciano. The purpose of the convention was that of setting up a clearinghouse on the island of Sicily for all drug traffic directed to North America. Giuseppe Bonanno, alias Joe Bananas, born in Sicily, now United States citizen and head of a New York family, attended the Palermo meeting to coordinate and unify the common interests of Cosa Nostra and the Sicilian Mafia, and also to set the groundwork for the full-scale reunion that was to be held in the Appalachian Mountains in upstate New York. The presence of Giuseppe Genco Russo, undisputed mafia boss of Sicily, at the Palermo meeting served to guarantee greater unity and obedience among the mafia rank and file on the island. 9 years later, 17 bosses were brought before a judge, accused of having formed a criminal association, but only 5 were ultimately sentenced. Camillo Galante, Giuseppe Scandariato, Giuseppe Genco Russo, John Bonventre, Joe Bananas.
I would like to propose a toast to our good friend Lucky Luciano. Yes. Voglio fare un brindisi al nostro caro amico Lucky Luciano. Although you're far from home, you're always in our heart. Ma pure sta lontano dalla casa nostra, sta sempre il nostro cuore. 100 anni, buona salute.
You made me come back from Italy just for this?
You refused to answer.
You've been asking me the same questions for the last 5 hours, and I've given you the same answers. Am I here as a witness or a defendant?
Governor Dewey appointed this commission to investigate Luciano's parole. Aren't you an expert on Luciano?
I am a Bureau of Narcotics agent, assigned to investigate the drug traffic in Europe. Everything I know about Luciano is in the reports I submit regularly to my commissioner, Harry J. Anslinger. Ask him for those reports in Washington.
You testified in front of the Kefauver Committee saying that Luciano was king of narcotics.
I said if he was not the king, Luciano was at least a member of the royal family.
And the evidence? Where is the evidence?
I've already told you. It's difficult to get direct evidence against Luciano. But behind every pinch we make, Joe Pesci, Frank Colecci, Frank Coppola, we find his shadow. And every thug we arrest with his hand on a bag of heroin turns out to be one of Luciano's criminal associates.
What's that mean, criminal associates?
It means that every time we trace these men, they're connected to one head, Luciano. In the Joe Biondo case...
In the Biondo case, it was only a matter of acetic anhydride.
Only? Acetic anhydride is used to convert morphine into heroin.
Luciano was never prosecuted by the Italian courts on narcotics charges. That proves they never had anything against him.
No, it only proves that his accomplices don't want to give his name, maybe out of reverence or out of fear. But our informants have always told us Luciano was a source of supply, even Giannini.
Giannini is dead, and it's still not clear why he died. If he'd stayed in Italy, he'd still be alive. Why did you force him to come back to America?
I did not force him. I only bought his return ticket and went with him to the airport. Are you trying to accuse me of Giannini's murder?
We must investigate everything, and it does no harm now and then for a policeman to see how it feels sitting on the other side of the desk.
Yes, and it could be a good experience, too, for a judge, even for a governor. Why don't we start by investigating the real reasons Luciano was released from jail and sent back to Italy?
I've got the papers here, and the report of your colleague, Agent White, as well. As usual, you base everything on confidential whispers and insinuations from gangsters who end up murdered.
White's informant is dead, but Governor Dewey's assistants, the ones that went to see Luciano in jail, they're still alive. They can tell you what they told me.
And that is?
That luckily Luciano had no information that could possibly help the United States Navy. All he had to offer was a fat check for Governor Dewey's political campaign.
You want to end up on trial for perjury?
You don't scare me. I tell you the truth. And I don't give a damn about politics.
And you don't call it politics when you blame Luciano for your failure and the failure of the Bureau of Narcotics to put a stop to this drug traffic? It's easy to make accusations.
I'm morally convinced that Luciano is the boss of the heroin racket, and we'll get him yet.
Give us the evidence. If he breaks the law, we'll ask for his extradition. Since the Italian courts won't arrest him, they should be happy to send him back to the United States to face his accusers.
He was in the United States, in jail. He should have been kept there.